Well, today's a nice sunny day. The sky's blue. The clouds are running around up there having fun. So I'm going to have some fun today in my studio here. And the thought came to me in the night that we're going to have leaves pretty soon. In fact, a couple of the trees in the yard are almost starting with the little tiny buds. So I think today I'm going to deal with leaves. So this, I'll start with. This is a leaf. Now, does that look familiar to anyone? Probably not. My friend and I were in the rainforest in Australia, and we were walking along in this kind of a park or set aside area, and we heard this horrible crashing sound, and coming from Alberta, all we could think of was a grizzly bear. Bang, 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 and we thought, oh my God. And so we stopped in our tracks. So then we crept up to where the sound came from, and here it was. This fell from the top of a tree, through the branches, crash, 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 and landed on the floor of the rainforest. We were stupefied. This is a leaf? So that's the first thing that got me interested in the night, thinking about leaves, and I thought, I want to draw some leaves. I want to start some leaves and just see what I can do. I have no idea where it'll be going, but I just want to try it. So we start with this marvelous leaf, and then we'll look at these leaves. Now, all of these leaves that I got out of my books where they've been kept so they dry and flat and keep their shape. And so all of these come from the rainforest, different rainforests. You probably noticed the ginkgo. This is so extraordinary, that leaf. But they all are just absolutely, to me, they're incredible. They're veins, they're arteries, they're the whole thing of the tree that gives them nourishment in these leaves. That's what leaves are all about. When you look at them, it's just amazing to see how the outside areas are articulated. Each one has its own quality. Each one has its own size, shape, color, designs. So interesting. So I thought, wow, I got to do something with these because they just interest me. And I'm not going to imitate them, but I'm going to say, what's me that would kind of be like a leaf? Well, I have such an imagination that I started looking at these. We've all got these. At least probably most of us do yet, unless someone's had something happen to them. So I think what I'll do is just go to my board here, my art board, and I set up a couple pieces of paper that I hope are big enough to get this done. And I thought, okay, what I'll do is see what I can come up with, being inspired by nature and thinking about the rainforest and those tall trees and those animals whooping and wailing and whatever in the rainforest, and just see what I can do. So now we'll just start with my hand. Well, that certainly looks like a hand, doesn't look like a leaf. Oh yeah? Well, if we just imagine a few things, it could. And what interests me is I've been around enough native people in the world to see how they think. And what excites me as an artist is they think so much the way I do. Like, what do we have that's part of our physical makeup that has complements when we look at nature? Well, that's how we develop an imagination about our world. I think leaf, and I look at this and think, okay, who knows where this is going to go? Well, that's one. What could this be? Okay. So let's just have fun. I'm sure nature had fun doing all this stuff that we see in our natural world, because sometimes you just laugh out loud when you see certain animals you're not used to. You see certain shapes you're not used to, and you wonder, oh, never mind. Get back to this. Okay, so now we're just kind of starting around with something here. It's just fun to see what you can do with your hands. And then when you think, what can I do with my hands? With another hand and a pencil in it. Well, these are getting rather interesting. Now we'll take another look at some of those leaves over there. And they're all different. And they all have a purpose. So now back to my hands, and let's see what's going to happen here. Okay. And it doesn't matter, your fingers wiggle as you go around, so that's all part of the game. They wiggle, they get fatter or thinner or whatever. There. Oh, okay. So what I'm going to do, I think I'll just give it a trunk. Okay. So this trunk will come down, disappear behind part of this, and come down here. So this trunk is going to be the structure for these crazy looking leaves, which aren't much more any more crazy than what's on that layout over there. And that's only the beginning of leaves in the world. So this, as we go along, oops, this can just get interesting as we go, because we don't know what's going to happen to all this. So we'll just make sure we know that this is the trunk. Okay. If this disappears up here, so at least there's the trunk and there's the leaves. So what do we do with all these leaves? Well, then we can start by saying, okay, let's color them in. And we can make any colors we want. So we can just roughly color things in so we know sort of where we're going with this. But it's just an idea that gets started. And then, of course, when you have more time, you get more delicate or more specific. So we'll just keep this as a reminder for a moment, because we want to get all things kind of going at once, so we have some map of where we might be headed. So let's see what else we have here. Color. So then we take this color. And as I say, I don't know where I'm going, but I'm sure having fun to discover what's going to happen with all this. And that's the fun part. That's when you forget about everything else in life because you're creating. And I wonder about creation, because I'm sure that creation has just as much fun. What are we going to put on this tree? What kind of a shape is this leaf going to be? So then we get some idea up against this other green what we're going to have. Then, because we want to see what other things can happen, we'll see what happens when we get a little bit of red on there. Mix it up a bit. Now we can smear into here, doesn't matter. Leaves happen at different stages of the season. And you know they start out with one color, and then as the summer gets warmer, you notice how that waxy looking leaf starts to look dark green. And that's where we get excited about spring, because we see the different types of green. And then as the summer goes on, that green turns darker and darker and darker. And that gets very interesting, because if you really watch the season go, you'll see the colors go too. What happens? Something's happening in their growth cycle. So we got something like this going. There's a piece of tape under there taping these two sheets of paper together. But that's okay. So we get an idea. So then we say, oh, then we have other colors that start working in. Ooh, oh, big spring. The yellow, when the leaf starts, it's quite yellowish green. And watch the buds. The time to start looking before that pops is the little buds that start, and watch the colors of the buds. They're just so interesting. And be sure to get up early enough in the morning to get out there and see what's happening to the buds before your eyes. It pops right open. That's another wonder of nature. I remember my parents used to take me out and say, now watch, Suzanne, just watch. Wait till you see what happens. And the next day I get up and get out there, I say, Mom, Dad, look there's a leaf. And I missed it. And they said, now you see, nature's busy all the time. And I was curious. So I said, does nature ever sleep? Well, what do we know? So you see how this can start to be springtime. And if you watch, you can keep going on. Use any colors you want, because this is what happens with spring, is all the colors start changing. And some are brownish and they get reddish. As you see over in that little corner there with the leaves, you see how dark those leaves are? Very different from all the rest of the green over there. So this is what you do. You just keep going with different colors, see differences, and then you can always go in afterwards and start smoothing it out. Use your fingers, start smoothing out the colors, smoothing out anything on it that you want to smooth out, that you press right down on there and get it moving. And that can get another interesting color and shape to what you're doing. So that gives an idea how we're starting. Where we're finishing, who knows? That's what the whole fun of this is. And you see over here, look at all these colors over here. I can play around with any colors, mix these colors on here. I can make my own tree, all my own leaves. Maybe they're blue, maybe they're purple, maybe they're dotted. It's all up to you. It's your game, it's your creativity. Have fun. Yay, spring.